extra credit, but if you didn't do it or don't understand how to do it, that's perfectly okay because it's a bonus. If I start at the arc and I go to the angle, what do I have to do? Divide by 2. So if I divide by 2, I get 30. Okay. If I start at the angle and I go out to the arc, what do I have to do? Multiply by 2. Absolutely. Isaiah, it's so nice to hear your voice. And then if I come down here, if I have 2 chords that are inside the circle, what do I have to do with all these 4 pieces? 12 times 5 equals x times 7.5. Or you can go ahead, some of you can just divide by the 7.5 right off the bat. So this is 12 times 5 divided by 7.5 equals x. Okay. This segment, multiply the 2 pieces. This segment, multiply the 2 pieces and then solve. Or you multiply one segment, divide by that 3rd piece, and it gives you the missing piece. Okay. In question number 4, it's the same thing. What do I multiply with the 10? 10 times 4. And what do I multiply with the 8? X minus 4. Please make sure once you find x, and I think x equals 9, did x equal actually 9? That when you go to find ST, you want this part, 8, plus this part, so 9 minus 4, plus 9 minus 4. And that should give you ST. When you substitute your x back in, you just add these pieces together. You multiply at the beginning and then add at the end. Okay, that's where. 8 times x and 8 times minus 4. Absolutely. Okay. How do I turn AB into a length? I want to know how many feet that is. So we've got to do kind of what we just did in the warm-up. The angle over what times what equals arc AB. Gauge. So we got to do the circumference. So that's 2 pi times 120. And then what goes in the numerator? The 55 angle. And then 360 always in the bottom. So this is your angle divided by 360 times circumference because I want length. And somewhere it says length up here. Okay. On these, guys, you need to put these in Desmos. Desmos is your friend. Okay. So I'm going to put -4,3 and 0,5 into Desmos. I can also, well, let's do that first. So 0,5, 0,5, and what was the other one? -4,3? -4,3. You want to label both of those, right? I need to find the midpoint. So how do I find the midpoint between 0,5 and -4,3? How do I find the midpoint between -4,3 and 0,5?
The midpoint formula.
The midpoint formula. So that's x plus x divided by 2. So -4 plus 0 divided by 2 is -2. And then 3 plus 5 divided by 2. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. This is my circle center. So if I know the center of my circle is at -2, do I need a +2 or a -2 in my formula? I need a +2. If I have a +4 for my y, do I need a +4 or -4? -4. Remember, those are opposite, right? So now I can come back. So this is x plus 2, by the way, if you're putting things in, and y minus 4. Then we come over here and we put that into our formula. I know I've got x plus 2. So all Desmos is doing is giving you a visual, right? And then y minus 4. Do I know the radius? Do I have some options for the radius?
Yeah.
I do. So if I already have a picture, And I know these are the two endpoints. Can I just come substitute in 20? Oops. Does 20 work? Is that the diameter of the circle? It is not. So what if I put in 10? Is that the diameter of the circle? So all I'm doing is testing out all my answer choices from my multiple choice here. So 20 didn't work, 10 didn't work, but 5 looks like it's a good spot, a good fit. Okay. Whenever you get these circle questions, use Desmos. It's there to help you. Okay. Next week, we'll look at TestNav a little more closely and see where the calculator and where Desmos is on your actual test. Which of these points lie on the circle represented by this equation? So we're going to put that into Desmos and then just put our points in and see which ones match. So again, let's just look at this real fast and see if that makes sense to us. If I type in my equation, x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 10 squared, then I'm looking for points on the edge of that circle. So I already have negative 4, 3. Negative 4, 3 is right here. Is that on the edge of the circle? So I need to check it. Then what if I put in negative 6, 3? I have a decimal there instead of a comma. Is negative 6, 3 on the edge of the circle? So I don't use that one. Easy enough? Okay, I'm looking for questions in the chat. If I'm going too fast, too slow, you gotta let me know. SOT, that's an angle. So SOT, that's this angle is 68. So what do I know about this purple arc? It's also 68. The central angles and the arc that they shine a light on are going to be equal. What if I want to go all the way down into SRT? SRT. What do I do when I go from the arc to the angle? From the big to the small, I got to divide by 2. Absolutely. So 68 is going to turn into 34. Okay. What do I do with number 9? Number 9 is kind of pulling everything together. What's WP? Is that diameter or radius? That's diameter. So what's the radius? 18, somebody said. So if the radius is 18 and I want the area, what's the area formula? Pi radius squared. And I want the shaded sector. So these words are so important. I don't want this white part. I want this shaded sector over here. So what's this degree? Absolutely. 180 minus 50 is 130. Make sure you're answering the question being asked. It's asking for the shaded sector, not this white sector. So in that formula that we've used a couple of times now, 130 divided by 360 times the area, pi, and now I got to use the 18 squared. So this was 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Now we've got an extra step because we notice what's in all my answer choices. Pi. So if I take the pi out of my calculator and I just write it down on the piece of paper, in your calculator you do 130 divided by 360 times 18 squared, and you should get your answer. Okay. This is definitely a hard level question, but I think it's a hard level question that we can get. This is the one that I'm not going to go over. Okay. This one is extra. Okay. It's definitely doable, but it is next level. Okay. So I don't want to spend time on that today. If you want me to, I can make a video on that if people are struggling with that and they want to know. The question is asking the area of the shaded sector. It wants the area of that gray rainbow. It wants the area of the gray rainbow. So basically step number 1 is find the area of the big circle and divide it in half. And then step number 2 is find the area of the super small circle, this circle, and divide it in half. And then you got to subtract them. So if I have this whole gray piece of the donut and I take out the white piece of the donut, what's left is this rainbow arch.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not going to count against you. If I know the circle center, how do I fill in my circle equation? If I know my circle center is negative 4, 6, what do I fill in here? Is it x minus 4? Absolutely. And then if the radius is 10, what goes at the end of my equation? 10 squared, because this is the radius and this is radius squared. Once you can rewrite that equation, you put that again into Desmos and then plot all your points and see which ones match. Okay. What's the circle center if this is the equation? What's my h and k? If I have x squared, what's my, it's 0. And you can plug it into Desmos, absolutely. And then if y minus 2, what's my y part? Negative 2 or positive 2? Positive, because you got to switch them. And then what's the radius? It's the radius. Is the radius 25? Is the radius 5? Or is the radius 10? Why is it 5? Because you got to take the square root. This is r squared, so you got to take the square root. Okay. Again, plot this, figure out where the circle center is. You're going to plot 0, 2, and then you're going to plot one more point on the circle. If you know the radius is 5, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put a point. Right? And put a point. And then there's like 8 other points that you could put on there. Does not matter which one. Okay. Questions on any of that? I know that was crazy fast. Do you need to go back to any other ones? Did we miss any? We're not going to worry about question 10. That's like next level. Nobody's got time for that in 2020. That'll be the bonus question. All right. Then what I'd like to do is go back into today's folder. What I want to do is do these together. So start these, and as you have questions, let's talk about them. I'm going to post this video because I know a lot of people are not feeling it.
8 times 4x plus 1, and I distributed it, and I got 32x plus 8.
I like that.
6 times 6x times x6, and I got 36x.
I like that too.
Oh, actually,
they're all inside, so you don't have to double anything.
I didn't put the x for 32.
I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to open up a breakout room for a couple of people.
I think we just solve from there.
And then you just solve from there.
Distribute.
Yep, absolutely distribute.
And then 4x plus 1 this time was the same. Yeah, and you put the 1 over x.
Hey, sweetie, how can I help? Okay. It is hard. It's a lot. So I unsubmitted that for you, so you have another attempt. Do you want to open it and share your screen and we can talk about a couple of them? And then it might help if we do the ones from today together, and then you can go back to the other ones and see if they kind of make more sense. This unit, it just takes practice. So see if you can share your screen. We'll do a couple of them and then we'll go on because there's a better like mix of problems in today's homework.
No, I got two. Yeah, I got two.
Why do you need to stop doing
All right, let me see if I can open another screen, Nate, and we can go look at yesterday's homework and I'll share it.
It's 8. It's 6. 6 times 6x.
I thought that's 11. Oh, that's a plus. No, like, see at the top. Yeah, I thought that was 11. I got it.
All right, Nee. This one.
I didn't use my method to stop.
You said you need to stop.
All right, tell me which one you want to start with. One, two. Can I make that smaller? I don't know if I can make that any smaller. So we've got this angle right here. It's 34, right? And if it's a spotlight, it's going to shine on this arc. If I go from this small angle across to the big arc, it does multiply by 2. It is 68. Mm-hmm. So you've got 2 chords. You've got this chord. So you're going to take those 2 pieces and do 5 times 12. Mm-hmm. Ah, yeah, you want to do times. It's almost like a proportion. And then you take this chord and you do x times 7.5. And then you just set those equal and solve. Okay. It is, yeah. So this is the same. You're going to take this diagonal and multiply these 2 pieces. And then you're going to take this diagonal and you're going to multiply these 2 pieces. So you got to be a little careful here and you got to distribute. And then once you go back to substitute it in, because it asks for ST, you want to add these pieces up. So this segment is 8. And this segment is x plus 4. So once you solve this to get x, you need to substitute in here. And then to get ST, it's 8 plus x minus 4. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anytime you're trying to convert angles into length, right? You want to do whatever your angle is. So in this case, it's 55 divided by 360 because there's 360 degrees in the circle. So it's like the part divided by the total. And then I'm looking for this feet here. So that's circumference. And circumference is 2 pi r. So when I go to substitute, this is my formula that I need. When I substitute, I'm going to do 55 divided by 360.
You told me to.
times 2 pi. Absolutely. Gotcha. So is this formula here? Let me take a break for a minute. Does anybody out there in Zoom need some help, or in the classroom need some help? How are we doing out here? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is number 4?
Number 4 is not 1.
No.
What? For SU, I think it is. What'd you get for X? Yes. What's the next one you want to talk about? Which one?
Yes, it is. It's 180. And Gita added into half of it, so it would be 180. 360 divided by 2 is 180.
That is 100% correct. Yeah, don't worry about question 10.
It says it in the question in the Gita F is diameter.
If you have this equation, what's the circle center? Mm-hmm. So 0, 2 is your circle center. When you type it in, don't put any spaces. Do parentheses 0, comma 2 parentheses. And then if you know that the equation ends with 25, what's R? R is 5. So then another point on your circle is just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one of them. So you could put in 5, 2, or you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and do 0, 7. There's like literally 12 points you could put on here. If you're in the SOL doing this question, plot this in Desmos and then just put your cursor around the edge of the circle and it'll like lock in on whole number points. You want to make sure if it says integral that you use whole number points. So like 0, 7 or 5, 2. Awesome. So let's go back to the main room and I'll continue sharing my screen on the assignment for today. And let's see if you feel a little more confident about it. You're welcome.
Wait. Can I show them my method real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I write out?
I think so. Oh, you might have to go here. Okay.
So y'all see this is 68 right here, right? Yeah, that's close enough, okay? 68. So then right here, you see this. That's a little bit smaller than half of 68, right? Y'all can see this? Everybody can see that. This is a little bit smaller. So then what I do is I'm like, all right, well, if half of 68 is around 34, right? I'm like, I look at the things and I'm like, well, I need something that's lower than 34. And so 20 is up there. So I pick 20. And that's my right answer. But I can also check it because what you do is 68. What is the method? 28 over 2. Okay. And you do all the math, right? Y'all know how to do math. I don't need to show y'all how to do it, okay? And then basically equals 20. Oh, good God. And that's how you use my math.
Boom. Let's do X. Oh. We can just do X.
Oh.
There we go.
And that's how y'all do it. Pretty easy.
I don't agree.
Yes, right. Number 6. GDF. It says which is not true.
Yeah, so I got, I said 8.
So in number 6, if you've gotten to number 6, you know that this is an inscribed angle, right? So if this is a diameter, GDF is 180 degrees because it's half the circle. And then this is an inscribed angle, so this is going to be half of that, which is 90. So we're looking for which one is not true.
H.
Actually, no. It's actually gonna be J.
Why?
Oh, actually, it is J because F
I
is
don't have to write this. I don't have to write this line. I can just show you. So, like she just said, half of GDH, right, is equal to E, right? And so that's what this is. And that's true. We're looking for what's not true. That's our only other option.
Boom.
No, but look. This is why I did what I did. Because, you know, G to F is exactly the diameter and half of it is a radius. So I felt like F and G would be half equal. That's why I did that.
So that is the crazy thing about these is that these acute angles are not always going to be 45. Not always going to be 45.
That was actual math.
Math is logic. Logic is math. So if you can solve the problems logically, that's a huge benefit. So I've got the chat open. If anybody has a question, let me know.
Yeah.
So for this one, you want to do the outside times the total. So 10 times 10 plus x plus 6. And then the outside times the total. So 9 times 9 plus x plus 10.